Greetings, fellow Whovians. Whovian Queen here. Hope you're having a good week so far. Well, our look at the Ninth Doctor era continues on with the Unquiet Dead. So, without further ado, here we go. The Ninth Doctor and Rose landed Cardiff on Christmas Eve, 1869. At a nearby funeral parlor, led by Gabriel Sneed and his servant Gwyneth, the corpse of the late Mrs. Peace has been taken over by a blue vapor. She kills her grandson, Mr. Redpath. Gwyneth, a clairvoyant, senses that the corpse is going to see Charles Dickens at a nearby theater. In the middle of Dickens' performance, the blue vapor leaves Mrs. Peace and scares the audience away. The commotion attracts the attention of the Doctor and Rose, who rush to investigate. Sneed and Gwyneth arrive and capture the corpse, but are confronted by Rose and end up kidnapping her as well. Why? At the funeral parlor, Rose wakes up along with the newly reanimated corpses of Mrs. Peace and Mr. Redpath. The Doctor and Dickens arrive and break into the parlor just in time to rescue Rose. The Doctor convinces Gwyneth to help him hold a seance to attempt to communicate with the corpses. The blue vapors fill the room and reveal that they are the Gelth, a once corporeal alien race until they were devastated by the Time War. They plead with the Doctor to open the rift that exists in the morgue and allow them to cross over. The Doctor offers the Gelth temporary use of the corpses until he can transport them to a place where they can build new bodies, using Gwyneth as a bridge to cross the rift. Gwyneth stands in the middle of an arch and opens the rift, allowing the Gelth to cross over. The number of Gelth is much greater than anticipated, and their true motive is revealed. They intend to kill the living to give themselves more hosts and take over the planet. Bom bom bom. Realizing the Gelth are affected by the gas, Dickens extinguishes the gas lights and turns the gas on full, pulling the Gelth out of the bodies. The Doctor tells Gwyneth to send the Gelth back and close the rift, but she cannot close it or leave. Instead, she takes out a box of matches, intending to ignite the gas and hold the Gelth in one spot with the explosion. The Doctor determines that Gwyneth is already dead, and that by opening the rift, she is doomed herself. The Doctor, Rose, and Dickens flee the parlor just before it explodes and burns, trapping the Gelth and closing the rift. Sheesh, that was dramatic. Anyway, let's look at the production of this episode, beginning with writing. Executive producer and head writer Russell T. Davies came up with the concept of The Unquiet Dead. As the third episode of the Revive series, it was designed to continue to show the range of the program by exploring the past, after the contemporary Rose, and the far future, the end of the world. It also reintroduces the TARDIS habit of taking the Doctor to the wrong places, something that had not yet happened in the Revive series. Davies felt that it was important for an episode to be set in Cardiff, as that is where the new series is produced, and wanted the story to be set in Victorian times and feature Charles Dickens. Davies' original brief also included fake mediums, and Gatiss originally set it up in a spiritualist hotel which had fake mediums, such as the character named Mrs. Plumshoot, on the lower floors and Mr. Sneed on the top, though he was unaware he was a true medium. However, Gwyneth became a more popular character with the production team, and she took on much of the medium role. Gatiss was also more interested in possession and zombies. Mrs. Sneed was another character that was cut out of the episode. Gatiss believed she was unnecessary as Gwyneth was the heart of the story. The working titles for the story included The Crippingwell Horror and The Angels of Crippingwell. The original draft was grimmer, including details about the previous death of Gwyneth's younger brother, but in subsequent drafts the story became more of a romp. Gatiss stated that the name Gelth simply popped into his head. Gatiss was encouraged to personify the Gelth, which he originally questioned because he felt the monster's whispering "Doctor" was a cliché. Producer Phil Collinson remarked that perhaps it was a cliché because it worked well. The rift was added into the plot to simplify the Gelth's origins. Gatiss originally resisted having Dickens star in the episode, as traditionally the Doctor only mentioned meeting historical figures, but he eventually warmed to the idea. As a Christmas Carol fan, Gatiss wanted to set the episode at Christmas. He later realized that the Dickens journey in the episode mirrored that of Ebenezer Scrooge. In one scene, Gatiss wanted the knocker on a door behind Dickens to briefly show the Gelth's face in a reference to A Christmas Carol, but this visual effect was not done. The episode originally began in the TARDIS, as Gatiss wanted the first glimpse of 1860 to be through Rose's eyes. While this changed, Gatiss still wanted to show how great traveling in time is. It was scripted that snow would blow into the TARDIS when the doors opened, but this was cut because of budget reasons. Davis requested a scene in which the Doctor takes Rose to the future to see a world filled with walking corpses, the result if they had left before defeating the Gelth, but this was too expensive to film. During the scene in which the Doctor and Dickens are talking in the coach, the driver was supposed to shout down to them, referencing a Dickens work, and the coach was to crash, but this was also too expensive. Yep, it's all about the budget. It's all about the budget. Now let's move on to casting. Simon Callow, who portrayed Dickens, was considered apt since he possessed excessive knowledge of the author and had experience playing the character and recreating his public readings. Callow contended that for him to agree to play Dickens, the script had to be of sufficiently high quality. When he heard that the author was to feature in Doctor Who, his heart sank as he felt action has a tendency to posit the author as, quote, a kind of all-purpose Victorian literary character and really understand little, if anything, about him, his life, or his books. Director Ursland noted that the material being of interest to Callow was key to getting him involved. Promoting his role in Doctor Who, Callow stated that Brandon Marquez knew, quote, exactly what Dickens is all about, and very cleverly connects his idealism with the Doctor's desire to save the world. Callow was also pleased that the episode portrayed Dickens as he was toward the end of his life, ill and sad rather than energetic. In the 2011 episode, The Wedding River Song, Callow returned to reprise his role as Dickens briefly. Yay! Eve Miles, who played Gwyneth, was initially not supposed to film the episode as she was booked for another role in theater. However, her agent notified Miles of the role, and Miles was keen to audition for the series due to his reputation and Eccleston being, quote, one of my favorite actors of all time. After inadvertently attending the audition in a t-shirt emblazoned with an image of two naked women kissing under the slogan, I support nudist colonies, Miles was convinced she had not got the part. Her appearance contrasted grossly with Gwyneth's personality. After being notified of her success, Miles did not want to prioritize between her theater commitments and Doctor Who. Her agent decided that she would appear in the episode. Russell T Davies was enamored by her performance, which he felt confirmed that the actress was, quote, one of Wales's best-kept secrets, and subsequently wrote her in a lead role in the Doctor Who spin-off Torchwood. Miles' Torchwood character, Gwen Cooper, is intimated to be related to Gwyneth in Journey's End, after the Doctor asks Gwen about her family history. Alan David was cast as Mr. Sneed. Gatiss was pleased with the casting, as he had grown up watching David. Nice. Now finally, the filming and effects. Although the story is set in 19th century Cardiff, there were not enough Victorian-looking buildings left in Cardiff for the whole production to film there. The production filmed one day in Cardiff at the New Theatre on September 19, 2004, for the scene of Dickens' performance. On September 20th, the theatre's exterior, along with Dickens' departure scene, was filmed at Cambria and at Swansea Marina. The funeral parlor exterior was the Beaufort Arms Court in Monmouth, recorded on September 21st. More scenes in the Cardiff score were filmed on Church Street and St. Mary Street in Monmouth on September 22nd. Small pieces of paper were sprayed as snow, which caused a problem as it scared the horses. However, snow falling from the sky was a foam substance. A day of studio recording at the Unit Q2 warehouse in Newport took place on September 23rd. The interior of Sneed's parlor was shot at Headland School in Penarth, a former children's home, from September 27th to October 2nd. Based on research of Victorian morgues, the production team selected red and sepia as the main color scheme. When the episode underran, additional scenes and pickups were recorded at the school on October 19th and 20th. More scenes at Unit Q2 took place on October 22nd, comprising pickups and Zoe Thorne recording her scenes as the Gelth. Thorne had been filmed separately as the Gelth head and was used as a template for animation. In other scenes, Thorne had the challenge of matching her voiceovers to the actors who portrayed the bodies animated by the Gelth. The actors who played the dead bodies possessed by the Gelth had simple makeup, with just shading and contact lenses and no prosthetics. The production team was mindful of the program's audience and decided not to have any missing facial features. Originally, visual effects company The Mill planned the computer-generated effects to just be the ethereal swirl, but in the seance scene, they ran into the challenge of animating the Gelth's mouth. The Gelth turning red during the seance was a last-minute change to the visual effects. The Mill overshot their quota of CGI for the episode, and compensated with small swirls and shots that focused on other characters. Huh, interesting. So overall, this is a really unique episode, and it's pretty interesting, and plus, hey, you got Charles Dickens in the episode. How can you go wrong with that? So, overall, I give The Unquiet Dead 3 sonic screwdrivers out of 5. Well, tune in next week as we take a look at Aliens of London. So, until then, this is Hoovy and Queen saying, "Oh my, giddy up!" When I say run, run! I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow. Would you like it, Jelly Baby? Fantastic! Allons-y! Geronimo! Bow ties are cool, fezzes are cool, and Stetsons are cool.